Hello. So this is a Galactic Mayan astrology report for the 26th of October 2018. And we're going into the energy of Red Dragon Wavespell. Now, Red Dragon Wavespell is the first Wavespell of the entire 9-month process. So we have just basically come into this rebirth point. You know, yesterday was the final day of our previous 9-month journey. So it's interesting to reflect on what happened for you yesterday and if you can see and feel the way that things resolved. And then today, you know, we're going into this brand new 9-month cycle that initiates in this energy of Red Dragon. So Red Dragon energy is very much this energy of receptivity, but also trust. You know, Red Moon is very much about being receptive, but Red Moon is very much about the emotional receptivity, whereas Red Dragon is more about like action receptivity, I guess, in lots of different ways. So there's this, Red Dragon's very much about synchronicity and following the synchronistic flow. So when I speak of synchronicity, like the whole the feeling behind the calendars is about synchronization. You know, within Mayan astrology, it's about synchronization with real time being the time that exists all around us, so the planetary movements and the human being growth period. And when we synchronize in with these real-time experiences, we're literally synchronizing with dimensions that we're then in alignment with. So with Red Dragon, there's this energy of following the synchronistic flow, as opposed to thinking, I need to do this, and going into the mind construct and being like, on, you know, the 21st of December, I need to be here, and all of these little things like that. It's more about, okay, so what's opening up? Oh, that's interesting. That person's got in touch with me and I was thinking about them and they linked to that thing. Oh, there's something to follow there. So Red Dragon's this energy process of really allowing ourselves to be, you know, in the moment and making, you know, there's a phrase about it, which is making choices without guarantees. So there's this energy of like, okay, I don't know what's going to happen after this step. And I remember years ago, I think it was like in something like The Secret, seeing this amazing demonstration of how that works, in that, you know, if you're driving in a car and it's dark and it's nighttime and you've got your headlights on, you can only see maybe a metre or two in front of you, but you trust and you know that the road continues and you carry on driving. So it's that same energy of like, okay, I can only really sense what's going on for the next step. The next step after that is pretty unknown, but I'm going to trust it. And it's a choice to trust. You know, it's something that we've got to let go of what we've been conditioned with, but it's choosing to focus on releasing that conditioning to allow ourselves to trust. And I think especially, you know, within this third dimensional framework, we're kind of in this place of like, you know, it's not about trusting or following, it's about doing. It's about action. It's about doing. I need to make this happen. So obviously, you know, dropping into this energy of Red Dragon is kind of against all the conditioning that we've had, really. The other element of Red Dragon is this energy of mother, primal mother. And this links into the trust thing as well, because it's that like, you know, do you feel supported by the world? You know, do you feel cared for? Do you feel that your reality is a nurturing and caring environment? You know, or is it something that you feel is constantly sabotaging you, constantly testing you? Everything always goes wrong. And again, you know, as is very rife at the moment on the planet, so therefore coming through a lot of the different Wavespell processes. So it's this energy of like the stepping out of victimhood. So as opposed to being like the passive observer in life, or, you know, being the one that, you know, is victim to all these different things, it's shifting into that empowered model of, okay, so if this is what's going on in my reality and I'm not vibing with it, it's because there's something within me, you know, that's got this resistance. So it's like, oh, cool, doorway, drop into that, you know, as opposed to, oh, it's all horrible, I need to hide from the world. And, you know, this energy process is very, very key for me, because I'm a Red Dragon, you know, and, you know, my energy is very like, one of the things that most people that know me will kind of characterize me as one of the elements. I know there's lots of other elements as well, but this like changing direction. And this is because of the energy that I have. It's like, you know, I don't know what is coming next. And as a red dragon, my purpose and my energy is about following the flow as it opens up. But the way that I've been conditioned, I could go into lots of different astrology things with this, which I will do at a later date. But the way that I've been conditioned is to, you know, to make plans and to know. So I want to do that, you know, I want to commit to things and I want to do things with people and I want to look far in the distance and say, yep, that's going to happen. But the reality is that I don't know. So the process really, and this is the process that we're all going to be experiencing because we're going through this wave spell, excuse me, is how can we come into this place of, I don't know, it might work, it might happen, I'd like it to, but being able to create space. And so within this 13-day process, the invitation really is to create space. It's, you know, how can you free up your plans? I did like a little Facebook Live yesterday, and that was the thing that was really coming through, was this, you know, don't try and make space and don't fill it with technology. Make space without letting it be filled by anything, and then spirit fills it. But we have to have that space first, you know, and that works on the internal world as well. So the more that we can clear our conditioning, the more that we can clear our pain from the past, the more space that we have then to receive our spirit selves, our higher selves, our love, our, you know, whatever word you want to put on it. All of the words have got so many different connotations, but essentially it's just love, you know, it's that loving energy. So also within this wave spell, as it is the first wave spell of the 9-month process that we're going through, you know, it is the initiation. So the themes that are going on within your life over the next 13 days are very much going to be giving you keys. They're going to be giving you a taster of what you're going to be working with for the next 9 months. So keep your eyes peeled. Keep your eyes peeled and see what happens. And, you know, I've always been a journaler, and it comes in phases, often when I'm not in the UK. It happens more because everything is very full here. There's a lot of input for me because this is where I come from. You know, this is where my early life started. So there's a lot that comes in. Whereas when I'm in my nomadic space, which is, you know, my preferred state, there's a lot more space naturally, and it's easier to map kind of what happens. So when I'm here, it's generally mapping things that are a little bit more adverse. But this energy, you know, over the next 13 days is to really allow yourself the opportunity to kind of see what's going on, you know, within your reality. What is it that's coming in? What are the challenges that are coming in? Okay, that felt a bit icky with that person, as opposed to projecting onto that person and saying, oh, we've got this story going on. What theme is that? Is it around communication? Is it around trust? Is it around boundaries? You know, what is it that is going on within that? Because that little conflict is probably going to be, there's the taster of what's going to expand throughout lots of different corners of your life over the next 9-month period. Or if it's something positive, it's like, you know, and there's no such thing as positive and negative, because any negative is just coming in so that we can transform it, which takes us to a whole new rung of existence, which is awesome. But you know, if there's something like inspirational that's coming into your field over the next 13 days, again, take note of what that is. It's like, oh, that's really interesting. I've kind of wanted to do that for a while. How cool that that's kind of coming in. And yeah, and just take note of it, you know, have a little, okay, this is, and you know, it's like that perspective of reality that is the observer, you know, of not the, you know, we are the creator, but also, you know, it's all there for us to see. It's like this huge projection of our internal world and the external world and the things that we can't see, you know, inside us. So it's this opportunity to be like, oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's interesting. You know, like an explorer or a scientist or something, sitting there and being like, okay, cool, taking note of all these things. So yeah, this energy is really, this 13-day process is the initiation. We are beginning a whole new 9-month cycle. Yeah, so the invitation really is to make space so that spirit can get in, make space so that reality can talk to you, make space so that you can follow the flow, you know, because it's a very synchronistic energy is red dragon. It's like, you know, when we're dropped into it, it's like if we could follow that synchronistic flow, you know, who knows where it will lead. And sometimes it feels like it doesn't lead anywhere, but the reality is that it's put you in the thing, and then all of a sudden you come full circle. You're like, oh, I get that now. So yeah, there's this real opportunity to drop into that space of, you know, observing what's going on within your reality. The issues that might come up for you this 13-day process is trust. You know, the biggest challenge of Red Dragon is trust. You know, you've got your light and your shadow of all of the signs. In the light, it is this like primal trust and awareness that we are in a flow of something and nothing bad can ever happen. And all we need to do is just keep clearing and following our hearts and clearing and following our hearts and clearing and following our hearts. But on the flip side of that, there is this issue of my needs aren't going to be met. I'm scared, I'm afraid. All of my conditioning tells me that it's not okay to trust you. All of my conditioning tells me that it's not okay to take that risk. All of my conditioning tells me that it's not okay, you know, that I'm not going to be okay. So there's this real, like, if you are feeling a lack of trust, one, don't worry about it. It's natural for this energy process. But two, follow that thread. Follow back to where it started. Like, where did that begin? What experience taught you that it's not okay to trust? Look at it, examine it, break it apart, do your shadow transformation, and however you do that, feel it. Give yourself permission to feel it. Release it, cry. You know, it seems very simple on one level. EFT makes it extremely simple, but I know that we have a lot of resistance to clearing as well. You know, because we've got that part of us that wants to stay safe. It's like, no, I understand my reality and that's the way that my reality is, and I don't want to change that because that's not safe either. So it's really working with all of those different parts of ourselves and really allowing ourselves to drop into this space of observation. Also allowing ourselves, you know, the space to be able to follow the flow. If you've got a full schedule, cancel some stuff. Give yourself the opportunity for a day where you've got no idea what's going on. Get on a bus, drive somewhere, go for a walk, see what happens. You know, it's like this energy of vision quest. And I think sometimes we think vision quest has to be, I must be in a very warm country that has desert or forest, whereas a vision quest can be a trip on a bus and the people that you sat behind having this conversation. And it's like, oh, this entire experience of reality is a vision quest on one level if we choose, you know. So really allowing ourselves to drop into that space, recognizing when our trust issues come up, because they most probably will, and you know, how can we return to a space where we trust. When we were in the womb, and this is the energy of Red Dragon, this is where it all comes from. When we were in the womb, we trusted. We didn't have any option not to. We knew that our needs were going to be met. We were in this space, regardless of what mum was actually doing, regardless of how safe that space actually was. We trusted wholeheartedly and we grew. And mum didn't have to do anything. She might have sabotaged it a little bit by things that she did, but she didn't have to consciously think about anything. Her body took over and did the growing of this little human, us. So it's that real, like, that's what this primal energy is all about. It's like our body knows, our reality knows, that part of us knows. So how can we strip away these layers of fear conditioning to drop into that space? Because, you know, recently, personally, I've been at my grandparents' house and I love them dearly. But they are a product of, you know, they're both in their late 80s. They've lived in a city in the UK, in Bradford, for their entire lives. Well, a little bit of movement early doors, but they are a result of the surrounding society. You know, their experiences have conditioned them into a certain space, and they have the television on all the time. And not only do they have the television on, they have the news on 3 times a day. So this energy is like the conditioning that comes with that, the fear, you know, that we have experienced as a collective, especially since the invention of a programming machine that sits in the corner of everybody's living room and everyone's living room furniture is organised around accordingly. You know, it's kind of created this epic fear. And the reason that we're here, the reason that we've beamed in, the reason that we've got all of these amazing tools, the reason that you're watching this now, the reason that I'm here, is to dissolve this fear, because it's the only thing that's in the way. The only thing that's in the way is the fear. The fear stimulates everything. Every out of balance action is a result of fear, and fear is a result of conditioning, conditioned experience, conditioned thought. So all we have to do on a very simple level is release our fear. Like I say, EFT is an amazing technique to do that, but there are other techniques too. But it's really about pulling this fear out of our mind as opposed to feeding it by constantly being scared. When we are activated in this fear program, we're strengthening it neuralistically, I don't know if that's a word, in our brain pathway. If we constantly go through this same pathway, it's getting stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. So all of a sudden, it's like, obviously that is the reality. I've thought it that many times, you know? So how can we let go of this fear and drop into trust? So as I say, brand new 9-month cycle, amazing time for initiation. Less about us being like, oh, I'm going to write what I want to manifest on a piece of paper. More about us saying, okay, what's coming in? What is coming in, not this, what's coming in, and allowing that to, allowing ourselves to have this really beautiful 13 days, because it's amazing. Obviously I love red dragon energy because it's my energy, and when we're in the energy of our own sign, it's like, oh yes, and everything kind of fits in with our own energy patterns, so that feels really nice and comforting. Whereas when we're not, sometimes it can be a bit like, oh, I feel like I'm going against everything else. So so I hope that you have a wonderful initiation to this brand new 9-month cycle. And I am starting today. My new course starts, and I'm so buzzing about it. But it is actually going to be available forever now, you know, once it's launched. So it's all about Galactic Mayan astrology and energy healing, and lots of different modalities and lots of different esoteric wisdom, and all about empowerment and how we can learn from each other and share with each other and transform, you know, be the best version of ourselves that we can be. Since all this stuff came into my life, I feel more free. I feel more free, and that's the amazing thing. It's about freedom. It's not about hierarchy. It's not about power. And on the one level, it's not about changing the world out there. It's about changing the world in here, and that's what then creates the change in the world out there. When we're going into trying to change things out there, and it's interesting that I'm saying stuff like this, because with the thing that I feel about children, it's like a dichotomy. But when we're going to, I'm just going to allow my channel to flow, when we're going out there and trying to change things, a lot of the time, we're obviously going to meet resistance, and we're coming at it from an impure, imbalanced place. We're trying to fix what's going on out there. When we can fix what's going on in here, when we can heal that, then what naturally emanates from our heart doesn't have the resistance, doesn't have the fight. It has this pureness because it's integrated, it's a whole vision. So that's an interesting one. Thanks, guys. So I'm sending you loads and loads of love, and as always, it's like my little footnote in it, sending you loads and loads and loads of love, but it's true, you know. And I hope that you have a magical 13-day Wavespell. And take care, beautiful ones.